Hey everyone, welcome to The Way It Is. I am your host, Luca with Remax Service First Realty. And once again, I have my videographer and engineer of everything audio and video with me, Ben Myers. We had a lot of fun with last week's podcast with a bit of ranting on that renting versus buying thing. So we thought we'd try one more.
Yeah.
And Ben's pulled up some, well, what are you calling this, Ben? What are we calling this?
So this was a pretty popular kind of little blog back in the day. Terrible real estate agent photographs, kind of just archiving the worst ones you could find on any housing listings. And I will say I had a lot of fun editing last week's podcast. Had to use a lot of compression, bring your voice levels
Okay.
down.
I'll try not to yell today.
All right, so yeah, we're gonna get through it. Listings will pop up right behind us on the screen here.
Oh, awesome.
Through the power of editing magic.
All right.
So we have the first one here. Want to describe what we're seeing?
Well, I don't know if you'd want to live there. You got some sort of hybrid Murphy bed overhanging in a stairwell, and it looks like it's in the top floor or an attic of a building. So, but I guess I dare say that you'd want to maybe have the Murphy bed hidden when you took that photo, and then maybe people could learn about it once they got into that space. And then I'm not sure.
Not even a full kitchen.
No.
Like, what would you even call that? Like, well, funny part is I've seen places that look like this when I was going apartment hunting in Ottawa. You know, some of these complexes are so dingy and like.
Well, and see, the problem is terrible real estate agent photos sadly, these are stock stuff or whatever on this, on wherever you found it. But, we could do one of Kingston ones. I'm not going to lie to you, because there are some horrible ones out there.
Oh, we could definitely roast Everett. You know what? Maybe we will do topical. We'll see how many feathers we want to rile.
but yeah, and the other thing, the problem why, and again, and I'm probably going to repeat myself 100 times during this podcast, but the reason why agents really shouldn't take their own photos with their cell phones is because, as much as these cameras are so great now and everything, I'm not disputing that. Mm-hmm. You just don't have the right equipment and the right lenses to capture a space that small.
100%. Well, so like as a professional photographer, you constantly hear this story of people being like, "Oh, an iPhone's enough. iPhone's enough." It is in certain circumstances. Real estate photography is really someplace where it does help massively to have a professional camera.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, we'll see some more quality ones. This
is a shrine to a beagle.
It's terrifying.
which, and I'm not sure what happens in that room and if the dog is present in it when it does happen or not, but I don't know. That's pretty... it's pretty creepy to me, but
yeah.
But again, it's a long rec room-ish room, all paneled, with the big shrine to the beagle at the very end, which makes...
What is the creepiest place you've ever been into?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so the creepiest place I've ever been in was a grow op after it'd been shut down, and I had to go secure the place for the lender, for the bank that was the mortgagee that was going to be listing it. And so it was in the spring of the year, I remember, and it was at dusk, mistakenly. I shouldn't have gone at that time of day. So I had to go into the property. There's no power on because it's all been hacked and disconnected and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And I was going through by myself with just my cell phone flashlight. All the items were still in the home, so it still felt like somebody was living in it, if you know what I mean. And it actually was creepy enough to make me feel like somebody was still somewhere in the house. So in the garage was just chock full of garbage bags full of old weed plants. Inside in the kitchen was just disgusting food stuff, like just old cooked food, it was horrible.
So it was like kind of like a hoarder level on top of like
and then upstairs, and then the one part that creeped me out was upstairs in one of the bedrooms, was just a mattress with this massive kitchen knife just lying on top of it. And then downstairs in the basement, because it was dark and it was all wet from all the condensation and the water that they'd been using and stuff like that. And Yeah, that was probably one of the creepiest places I've ever been in. So
That's terrifying. The fact that you went in there like just by yourself.
yeah, which is probably stupid in retrospect. I'm not gonna lie to you. I probably should have had somebody with me, but
Jesus, just yeah, you never know who's going to be around the corner. That's
yeah.
very creepy. All right, so we have the home of many doors.
Yeah, it's like the Russian doll of doors, I guess, right? So you get to pick which one you want to open. What's
This
behind?
Christmas, turn your house into an actual advent calendar.
Well, that's pretty much it, right? And yeah, again, wrong shot, wrong angle, wrong everything. Why would you not stand in the doorway at least and take the photo going into the room? But
Well, that's the thing too. Is like there's so many things going wrong with it that you almost have to like start from the basics of just shoot from the door frame. Like it,
right.
unless it's an extremely spacious room and you need to show like a lot of stuff. Of course, you can do more than one picture too. That's the other thing. But for the most part, you're not showing any like semblance of space when you shoot like this.
You're showing doors here to closet spaces or to obviously attic spaces or storage spaces, which I guess
Yeah, well, you can
I
see
guess
this, it slopes here, right?
yeah. So I guess
Yeah.
if there's a positive, it's the fact that you've got some built-in storage in the space. But again, it's all cut off too and everything. So
I'm gonna throw it up to probably a Russian place. You ever see like there's pictures out of like Russian apartments and houses there? It's just
no, I've never seen.
oh my
that.
god, it's creepy. I mean, we're probably looking at a couple here.
Okay, so feature rock, as much as it may be a giant feature rock or something, I'm not sure if you want to take a photo of it or not. But yeah, that's pretty bizarre.
Oh, we
That's
can
for
actually
sure.
we can see what era this was judging
Yeah,
by
no,
the 2006 era iMac in the corner there.
Yeah, and then the carpeting and and it looks like it's beside a fireplace or the start of a fireplace. So that's just it. I mean, yeah, it's just why would you take a picture of a rock? So.
The big question is how they get it down there in the first place.
Well, it was probably, bet you the house was built around it. I've actually listed a waterfront place north of Kingston that was built on the bedrock, and they did have a feature granite outcropping and stuff but they engineered the footings and everything, but it was a crawl space, not a finished area with a rug or anything like that. The fact that somebody actually dropped that there, because I'm going to guess the carpeting goes underneath it. They didn't stitch the carpeting up around it's hard to say, but that would be. It almost looks like it's
it looks like it's shot.
yeah.
You know?
It almost does. You're right.
So you see, like obviously,
Yeah,
low-res
that does.
images-
Yeah, that does look like
Yeah.
it's chopped.
All right, low-res images obviously are difficult, and it's a directional flash. You can see here from the brightness on the screen here.
Right.
So obviously, flashes can wash out, shadows, but yeah, there should be some semblance of a shadow here. There's like.
Well, and I mean the rock's bizarre enough, but then you don't want to capture like the old Life game and Twister and like you said the old whatever Mac and stuff. Yeah.
Oh
It's
yeah. Well, I've done some shots and stuff. Obviously my main focus point right now is the videography. But when I go into houses, I'm kind of thinking like I'll be looking back and like I'll be focusing on like a specific nice thing. But then I'll look back at the shot and I'm like, oh shit, there's like this really kind of gross, grimy ceiling or something. I did one where like there was a gorgeous backyard. But as I panned along, you could just see how destroyed the fire pit was.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like,
That's just it. And you want to have, and that's why, again, having professional photography at least and having the conversation with your client about prepping the home. Again, not everybody's up for staging. I mean, and some staging and stagers are well worth it in certain circumstances. And oftentimes, though, it just means decluttering and taking stuff less is more. And this is, of course, perfect because it's obviously taken from a distance, and I'm not sure if that's water or they're driving
Vaseline,
in a car or
it's
what.
just-
But yeah, and the fact that gets posted is like, and so if you're the owner of that property, are you not mortified if you saw that? Like, that's the part that begs the question: is what that's what you're praying
Yeah,
for?
I mean, you can obviously kind of assume that some of these are taken by maybe independents or like they're using photos from like, I don't know, maybe the family, but even still.
But why would anybody want that? It's like trying
Yeah.
to, I don't know.
Honestly, if there's one recommendation I can give like most realtors, if you're selling a lot of homes, and just in general, you're sometimes without your real estate photographer, or you don't have like the budget for one on a certain listing, buy yourself, like treat yourself to the best phone you can find at the time of purchase, because honestly, just even having something is better than nothing.
Absolutely, but you don't want to be moving while you're taking it, obviously, or someone was probably they might have been parked in a
No,
car
well,
on a boat or something. What's like
the lack of contrast tells me that this is literally just smudging.
Yeah.
It's not even motion blur, because literally everything is still straight on.
Right.
Yeah, no, that is just a really messed up camera lens.
Wow.
All right. The next one is literally out of an MC Escher interior.
Well, again, I mean, it's just tough to capture spaces like that with standing in the room, right? Or without the proper lens and the proper equipment.
I actually I'll give him props on this one. This one is not the photographer's fault. This is just how absolutely bonkers the room is.
No kidding. There's not a straight line in it, for goodness sakes. Or a straight wall, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, they got it like properly lit. There's, I think you can see from the streak here, I think he's using flambient, which is using like a flash to kind of just illuminate the back of the room, bounce it off. Obviously, like there's a lot of walls there, so it's pretty easy to do so. Dynamic range is good. Again, yeah, it's just a really weird room.
It's just a weird space, 100%.
All right. Is that a carpeted tub?
It's got...
That's a carpeted tub.
Yeah.
That is disgusting.
That is bizarre, for starters, for sure.
Oh, what?
And that's in a basement, I'm guessing, too. This makes it even
so
more horrible. But,
it's so bad.
I mean, apart from dated fixtures and stuff, you can't solve that problem. It's not like... But, I guess... that's just bizarre. Yeah.
Can we make it like a recommendation that if anyone's trying to sell their home, if you have carpet in your bathroom, tear it out. Get rid of it. It shouldn't have been there in the first place, but
well, and I have sold homes that had carpeting in the kitchen and in the bathroom, and at some point in time, somebody thought it was a good idea. Well, someone thought it was a good idea to have a warm, soft floor underneath their underfoot. And I didn't, not that I'm arguing with that premise, but you're right. The application in those wet areas, because they are called wet areas for a reason, because not only water, there's other fluids that get on them. So yeah, it's you definitely, and you're right. With the accessibility and different types of materials and that's available, the products like laminate flooring and vinyl plank flooring, just solid plank. It's not hard to make that switch over for sure, and definitely. I don't even know. Obviously, I don't know. Do you sleep in the tub, or because you can't fill it with water? Would you? That doesn't make any sense to me. So.
Guys, buy a bath mat. Just get a bath mat. Just go over to your grandma's house, tear up the carpet, give that woman a bath mat. She'll be much happier and much safer for it.
There you go. Exactly.
That's a crime scene.
It is a crime scene. Wow, that's bizarre. That's creepy. Really creepy.
That being said, like the open view, you got some nice glass looking out onto the backyard.
But there again, like why? First off, that property couldn't have been ready to be listed. And if it was, it's got to be empty or something happened there. But you definitely want to, I don't know.
It looks like the Van Order apartment complex that's been in the news recently.
Well, no kidding. And you know what? That should just never been taken.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
That's all.
So glass wall, which is a closet, I'm guessing. And then you've got the reflection in it, right? So.
Do you see what I'm seeing here?
Well, the window, but.
See the flash? Where the flash he's taking the picture from outside the room.
Outside the room, through the window. Oh my goodness.
And here's the perspective from if a stalker was taking a look at your house.
Exactly. Because he got locked out of the house, he couldn't get in or something? Well, I'll just start without the owners first. Let me see.
And this right here is why you get an ultra wide, folks. So you don't have to climb outside of the house to take a nice picture of the room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I will give one pointer. And this is just to both level expectations and also to make sure that your pictures don't look weird. Don't go too wide. A lot of new real estate photographers like to go super wide.
Well, I'm seeing some that almost give it a bend in this.
Yeah.
It looks like it's a curved photo or something
Never
like that.
distort your photos. Don't ever kind of go past the point where everything is starting to kind of warp around the lens. That's a general rule.
Yeah.
For example, like the new iPhones, their ultra wide camera, I would argue sometimes is a little too wide. Like it's kind of starts to get a little warpy around the
Yeah.
sections.
Yeah. Wow.
They gotta know. They have to know.
That what the Windows setup looks phallic? Is that what you're saying, or what? Am I the only one that just got picked up on that? So
Oh, my perspective was way off. I thought this was like looking down on a church. I thought this was like the entrance to
well,
a chapel or something.
Well, it might be. Who knows what it is? But it's like loft space or it's hard to say based on what you see outside. But
okay, cock window aside, it's actually kind of a nice. It's kind of a nice setup.
well, if you're into the ski chalet part, for sure.
Yeah,
and you know what? There's still people that look to convert churches, old churches, and things like that into residences. I've seen a lot.
There's a couple in and around Kingston. I drive out and like I do like some photography and stuff, and I'll see like an old dilapidated church, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's a great shot," you know. And then I drive up, and it's all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh, someone just straight up lives here." I'm like, "All right, guess I can't."
Yeah, no. It
check
became
this one
very
out.
popular. I personally, that's not my cup of tea. But there are those that like that whatever ambiance or whatever they get from it and stuff. I guess for me, it's just always difficult. All the ones I've ever been in is just you still feel like you're in a church or you still feel like you're in an institution versus in a home sometimes.
Wow, that is.
A science experiment. It's not a pool anymore, that's for sure.
You must have seen some pools like this.
Oh yeah,
You know, just
I've seen
completely
some,
left to ruin.
Yeah, I've seen some horrible pools. Yeah, and neglected and closed and then yeah. So that is one rough backyard.
You know what's really disturbing about this? This actually might be my next door neighbor from when I was in Ottawa. I'm not even kidding. They had the grossest, completely unused pool for the longest time, and this fence here was bordered by another kind of upstairs case to the side entry room. I think this actually might be my old house.
It's
That's so weird.
Yeah. And I'm guessing that's never been opened, and that usually is the liner with the winter water still in it, and then it's just left to grow there.
Yeah, no. Well, a lot of these times, people would buy up homes for students, apartments and stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess Sandy Hill area, at least in Ottawa, was kind of more of a residential area for a while, and then it's kind of pushed more into student ghetto.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of homes that were repurposed into student apartments.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I was counseling an investor, if I'd get them to get a house with a pool for student rental.
I think you just got to fill it in.
Unless you filled it in.
Yeah,
exactly.
I guess they don't want to pay the price. But
it does cost money, actually, to get rid of a pool. My pet peeve, well, we'll get into it later, but I don't even... Oh, the throne room. There you go.
That's
So you get your exercise going up to relieve yourself.
What disturbs me is how dark this image is.
Yeah, well, it's obviously in a room with no windows for starters, and so the fact that it's in somebody's basement or crawl space or whatever is bizarre. But yeah,
funnily enough, I've been in a place where I was doing some shoots, and there was a significant step, like a rise out of nowhere between the bathroom and the main floor. I'm just thinking, man, someone's gonna crack their head. There's without a doubt.
Oh, yeah,
sorry. Going back to your pet peeves there.
Well, I just, my biggest thing for real estate agents, horrible photos is, we used to, well, even now, it's not that we used to, you still should now, but I guess the thing is in recent years, the market's been so strong that places don't last outside of their season. But back in the day, when the market wasn't as robust as it is now, and properties would get listed in the early spring when there'd still be snow on the ground or something like that, or you'd get a bizarre snowfall, and then the place is still sitting there in May, and they still haven't changed the seasonal photos with green grass. It's still snow in photos and stuff. So again, it just speaks to why, and aren't the owners of the property now and today? That's the thing. Everybody's online, so it's not like everybody's not seeing or keeping up with what their photos are on their property. In fact, I always send the photos after they're done to the client to see, just to make sure that they're happy with them and everything, and the virtual tour, because again, and even professional photographers, so don't get it right all of the time. I mean, sometimes there's color distortions, whatever, and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that was one thing that, or again, even if it was early spring and no snow, there's no leaves on a tree, and then you're in July and stuff, and you're still showing a picture that was taken in April, and there's no leaves on the tree.
Just at the very least, update the exteriors.
Exactly.
Just
So
yeah, if you got a listing that's like kind of
and
going
those you
on,
could do with your cell phone if
Yeah.
you really had to. Just
Yeah.
don't get out of your car to do it. Just don't do it from your. I have actually seen shots where people still have the
You can see the window.
car window or piece of the car window.
Also, just crop your photos. And also, I'm gonna say this: literally, Photoshop is not hard. Like, I'm kind of like shooting myself in the foot here by saying that my job isn't difficult. But like, seriously, I did not need to take a degree to learn Photoshop. It's actually pretty self-explanatory. If you need to like be constantly editing certain parts of your subject, just get like a photo editor. You hit a heel brush, and next thing you know, that piece is gone. Yeah. Right. That is. I kind of like it. I hate that I like it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of glass in that room. Wowzers. And everything is glass. Wow.
Man, just anywhere you look, you're just looking at yourself pooping.
No kidding. That's about it. You're definitely should be able to trim all your nose hairs or any excess ear hairs for sure, because you're not going to be able to miss anything. Wow. That is interesting.
Yeah, it is a weird looking place.
It is, and it's glass on the ceiling too, right? So
that must cost a lot too,
that
right?
would be a bit of a grotto there, eh? Boom, chicka, pow, wow. Holy moly!
I mean, at least they're committing to the theme.
Is that like hewn into the dirt, or what? Is that real dirt in there, or what is that? It's all ceramic stuff, just made to look like a dungeon.
It looks really custom.
Yeah.
Like really, really custom. I mean, obviously commitment where commitment is due, like respect to that, but
yeah, I guess
why?
Because you've got a fetish for bullfrogs, I guess. I don't know. Wow.
Something like that.
The house is taken on the wrong angle.
When I was a child, my favorite fairy tale, it was the one about a front door jamb to gaze down on its original position from an upstairs window.
Oh, didn't even see that. I was too busy looking at the other parts of this, but yeah.
But also, yeah, that's actually a good point. If you're hand holding, rotate your camera. If you're on a tripod, there's literally pretty much every tripod's got a little section just so you can twist the knob and just level out the image.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science, and it makes your images look 1,000% more professional. And it's funny too. It's like, not a lot of people, like, you think it would be basic knowledge, but like some people just don't have an eye for it.
No, they don't, and that's why they shouldn't take them, right?
And that's why they hire someone like me.
That's right.
That is literally where someone sacrificed
something.
Something.
or definitely conjured up the spirits for sure.
I'm gonna go out on a wild limb and say Dungeons and Dragons room. It's probably a bunch of nerds who were goofing off and made a D&D room.
Let's hope that's it. But
who puts fake art cistern arches into their
yeah, well, no, I've seen that done. That's old school, and same with that old stippling ceiling and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Well, you can see this is a basement because there's the actual
absolutely
window, right?
Absolutely, it's a basement. But again, paint the floor, put an area rug down, just
cover up the pentagon.
Pentagram. Don't advertise it as a place for Satan worship or whatever. So, yeah, that's a lot of. Is that lavender? Is that what you'd call that? I guess it's not really purple, is it? Is it purple?
We can call it purple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, the same thing. You're taking the photo from the back corner of the room, looking out towards the door, and
the place is looking like Grimace with the flu. It's
no kidding.
it ain't great, man.
And I think we talked about this. Didn't we talk about this one podcast ago? Whatever, maybe it was last week too. The biggest bang for your buck on resale or return on your money is
coat of paint.
Coat of paint.
Coat of paint.
Yeah, and that you can do yourself. So that's not a hard room to paint, I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, and that's the thing too is even if initially, like obviously most people can look into this room and be like, oh yeah, I can fix it up. You're not going to attract buyers who are going to want to just pay the upfront price with a room like this.
If somebody's scrolling through a bunch of properties, well, as soon as they get to those, they're just going to go, oh, that's creep. Or, maybe they might go see it just for notoriety or something, or to satisfy a morbid curiosity. But, that's the thing. Like, and it's not, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to hire someone with the most latest equipment.
You don't need an eye guide. You literally just need someone who has a semblance of an idea of how to work.
Well, and at the end of the day, everyone's already complaining about how much money real estate agents make. You hear it all the time. And this is what you're getting paid for? Like, I mean, at least justify your fees somehow, right? I mean...
I'll give a shout out to Ride Home Realty from a few podcasts back. Their social media,
yes. Yeah.
Their photos are clean.
Yeah.
Like clean, So shout out to people who actually can understand the value of a good creative mind and have someone to help them do that.
Well, I mean, the only time I think you should be using your cell phone for a photo is if you're going to post a selfie that you're doing something on it, whatever, recreationally, or you're out doing, if you wanted to do a story and you're meeting somebody at a property or something. I get that.
Yeah.
It's good to be grainy and all that in real life and authentic and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I mean, when you're actually trying to put a property in its best light, yeah.
And obviously you can't polish a turd.
No, you can't. You can only scoop it and throw it out is what you can do.
One of the big recommendations, especially if you are going to do your own real estate photography, don't lie. Don't shop out things that are permanent fixtures of a home. Don't change the colors too drastically. Keep things as neutral as you can. Other big things, again, like I talked about, like the warping. So try to keep it to the perspective of what the human eye will see.
For sure.
But yeah.
Well, that's good. That was fun, Ben. I appreciate that. And that's actually for realtors and listeners alike. I hope you got a good kick out of this and enjoyed it. And maybe actually even put photography into perspective, no pun intended. So
yeah, you know what? And of course, we can kind of elaborate a little bit more down the road, maybe just on in terms of actual Kingston real estate photography, because that's the thing too, is like we're kind of looking at the worst of the worst.
Yeah,
there's a lot of just mediocre stuff that can definitely be improved.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right,
next week we'll talk to you later.